Hey everyone, Daniel Martino here. First off, I want to say that I hope everyone's doing okay with everything going on in the world, and I hope everything gets back to normal as soon as possible. Today, though, we're going to be talking about the second video in the stock market training for beginners, little video journal that I've been doing on YouTube. So, what we're going to talk about on this video is what I believe is the first step from everything that I've looked up and learned when you want to start investing in the stock market, and that is set aside an emergency fund. I know this is common knowledge, but I really want to break down what changed my mind and made me believe that that is the best and most important first step. All right, let's break it down in this video. So my initial thinking about the emergency fund was that I would much rather have that money working for me instead of just sitting in a savings account. But that was until I read a thread on the Motley Fool's website that really changed my mind. So let's talk a little bit about that thread and what the scenario was that helped me change my mind. So the thread I mentioned was about someone who suffered an unexpected emergency. Luckily, in this case, they had an emergency fund set aside for something just like this. They go into detail about the emergency, and all in all, the expenses totaled $5,000. The author ends the post by saying that if they did not have that emergency fund set aside, they would have had to sell their stock, and given the time frame it was, they would have had to sell that stock for a loss, which is not what we're looking for. Of course, we're looking to make profits here. So when I read that last sentence, I immediately clicked for me, and I was like, you know what? I really need to set this emergency fund aside because I can relate to this. Back in my, penny stock trading days in college, I had that happen to me. I had an unexpected expense come up, and I had to sell all my stock. And you know what? I lost money as well. So I get it, and now I want to do it differently, so I don't have to sell especially if the stock is down. If it's up, it's a whole different story, but you never want to have to sell a stock that you really believe in this company because that's the reason you're buying it. So in my head, I started to think, okay, how can I relate this to the current situation we are in now in the first quarter of 2020? And I started to think, okay, I personally know a lot of people that have been let go of their job. They're no longer having any work. And you know what? Some of them are invested in the stock market as well. And I don't know if they have an emergency fund that they're going to be able to live off of. And if they're not, what they're going to have to do is pull out of that stock. And with the stock market being so down right now in the first quarter of 2020, they're most likely going to have to sell for a loss depending on when they bought that stock. So what I want to do now is go to the whiteboard and break down a little bit of showing an example because I'm good with numbers, and I hope that some of you are as well, and that'll help you see it how I saw it. So let's go to the whiteboard and kind of break down some information about the Dow Jones. So as we can see, we have some key dates and prices that we're going to be going over for the ticker DGI. That's the Dow Jones Industrial. A lot of people use that as the average when they're thinking about and looking in the stock market. So the first date is 11/21/2016, and that was the last time we can see it being this low of the $19,173 that we currently are here in late March of 2020. So let's use these numbers for an example. Say you bought at or around close on 3/19/2018 for $23,533, and then you were forced to sell on 3/22/2020, about 2 years later, because of everything going on with the coronavirus and people not having a job. Your original investment is going to be $23,533. Then you sell for $19,173. We can see right away that it is a loss of $4,360. When we look at the percentage that we lost, that is 18.53% of the money we invested. That's not what I'm looking for in investment. I might as well just rack up a credit card and live life like crazy if I'm going to look like that, because then I'm going to be saving 4%, because most credit cards you can get for around 14%, maybe 15% if you're on the high ends. So the reason that I bring up this example was that if you had an emergency fund and you did not need to sell your stock, you would have just lost that money on paper. Remember, you have not lost any money until you sell your stock, and what we do know about the market is that it may have gone down in the past, but it has always came back up. All right, let's finish the video. So, as we put the finishing touches on this video, I want to talk about some of the numbers that I came across when I was doing this research. Personally, something that really stood out to me was 3 to 6 months of living expenses set aside for anyone that is living on their own, that's single with no dependents. However, if you are the sole breadwinner in your family or you have a volatile type of job, then they recommend 6 to 12 months of living expenses set aside. Alright, so that's all for the video today. As always, I'm glad you're all listening. Hope you're learning something. My name is Daniel Martino. I'm a real estate agent here in San Diego, California. And I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Bye.